Hi, my name is Maria Polymenes and I'm the Senior Psychologist of Paragon Psych Connect. And today I want to talk to you about the ADHD superpowers. So it's a neurodevelopmental disorder which normally occurs before about the age of 12, and it's symptoms that are associated with attention, hyperactivity, impulsivity. And in Australia, it's actually one of the most common neurodevelopmental disorders, and it affects about 6 to 7% of the population. Now, when you have ADHD as a child, it may settle down as you get older, but you might still have a few of the symptoms. But about 15% of adults who had ADHD as a kid still meet the criteria for this as an adult. And over the years, I've been inundated with a number of adults coming to see me saying, I actually think I've ADHD. Do you think I've ADHD? So they've picked up some of their symptoms. And when I assess them and tell them that, yes, they do, they're quietly relieved because it actually makes sense. So things I love about ADHD, and you may be asking, why am I so interested in ADHD apart from my clients? Well, approximately 2 years ago, when assessing a client, I found myself ticking quite a few of the boxes, and I thought, do I have ADHD? Then it all made sense. My father used to say to me, just once, Maria, I want a report card that doesn't say Maria talks too much. Never happened. And my partner still tells me that I talk too much. And that's the reason I love running programs, because I get to talk a lot and I get to pretend I'm a stand-up comedian. So let's have a bit of a look about some of the things I actually love about my ADHD. I actually don't mind the insomnia, the waking up a number of times during the night. I see it as a gift. So when I wake up, I think, great, more time to do things. And the more time to do things for me is reading. More time to do things is getting through a book that I'm having fun with. And I've done it since I was approximately 6 years old. Back then it was The Torch Under the Sheets. Now it's an e-reader that I can read at any time during the night. And excitement, if I finish a book at 2:30 in the morning, I can buy another one immediately. The drive of hyperfocus. I churn out work. I'm a machine. And I think a lot of people will say that when they get into hyperfocus, they just go, go, go. Hyperfocus is spectacular, but it does need to be managed. And I found myself in the middle of hyperfocusing. If I'm interrupted, it comes to a grinding halt. And I'm sure quite a few of you can relate to that. So we need to make plans when we're in hyperfocus. We almost need to kind of tell everyone else to not interrupt us in the middle of this, to allow us to do as much work as we can. Hyperfocus is a negative side to it because you can hyperfocus on bad things like binge watching, an entire series of something, and time runs away from you. So while it's, to me, a superpower, it needs to be managed. Generosity, both with money, time, resources, anything, in fact, the clothes on your back. So everyone with ADHD will say to you they gave away a prized possession just because someone said they really liked it. And I've done quite a lot of things impulsively like that, paying for friends, floorboards to be put down, holidays, giving away jewelry and lots more, that I later thought maybe I shouldn't have done that. So the way I manage this is I listen to my partner who says, think about it for 24 hours. And only then, if you still want to do it, do it. And it's been cut down to 25%. So I call it ADHD and controlled generosity, so that you don't get yourself into trouble by overcommitting or overspending. I do that a little bit with online shopping. I'll want to buy something, it looks really exciting, I stick it in the shopping cart, I make sure I leave it there for 24 hours. If I remember to go back to it and I want it, then I buy it. But again, I do that to only 25% of things I've put in a shopping cart. A strong sense of what is fair, and I think people with ADHD or ADHD symptoms will say that as a child, they were very big on fair. Were you playing by the rules? Did you do the right thing? You may have found yourself as a child doing a bit of what I did, which is turning up to have a chat with the principal, not because he wanted you to, but because you wanted to. So what do you do when, as an adult? Do you get really upset when someone jumps a line? Or do you feel paralyzed when you're watching the news and you can't do anything about it and you see it as an unfair thing? So have a bit of a look at what you see as fair as unfair and turn it into a superpower. Don't just get overwhelmed and upset for this justice sensitivity. Turn your justice sensitivity into your superpower and do something about it. You don't have to cause a riot on the steps of Parliament House. You can just send a letter. You can make a phone call. You can volunteer for something. You can check on a friend that's been looking down, you know. All of those things are things that are doable and allow you to feel on top of things. Being spontaneous, sometimes we are seen as chaotic, but spontaneity, to an extent, is a superpower. Not spontaneous to the extent that you don't know what you're doing in any given day, but spontaneous about allowing yourself to discover new things or experiences that you may not have done because it wasn't planned. So if you're with other people, take on the role of travel guide and just do things. Spontaneous parents are great with kids because, you know, you can be really creative and silly and fun with them, unplanned, you know, just randomly get up and start dancing, and kids just absolutely love that. Being creative, we've touched upon that throughout this talk, but creativity to the ADHD person is often as valuable as breathing air. You need to put aside some time to be creative. Creativity allows your brain to flourish, allows the connections to multiply. It's like spreading fertilizer in the garden of your brain. So I want you to kind of think to yourself, where is my creativity? It might be in dance, it might be in writing, it might be in gardening, cooking, or even thinking. But allow yourself to flourish that creative part of your brain and book aside. And I know we talked about spontaneity, and you can be creative spontaneously, but book aside some time where you pause, you sit, and you say, I'm going to be creative today. What am I going to do? Creativity is like breathing. And finally, another superpower is being organized and punctual. Just joking. It's the complete opposite of that. For example, I love organizing my pantry because I love food. I love cooking. It's my passion. It looks stunningly beautiful for approximately a week, and then it's as if the food fairies go in and move everything around. And then it goes back to down the track, I need to recreate it and turn it into this beautiful, joyous thing, and then it goes back. So it's a forever moving feast. You're never going to organize something and it's going to stay organized on its own. You're going to have to put effort into it. I hate being late, and therefore I stick to my diary, and at work I'm rarely more than 5 minutes late with clients. People say to me, how can you not be time blind? And I tell them that I just decide and I do it. I don't question it. I stick to this. But I do have memories when it's not work of packing my suitcase with my ex-husband, having just rung a taxi to take us to the airport, stressed him to the max, and he couldn't handle being in the house. He stood outside, but I hyperfixated on packing and knocked it out really, really quickly. But if you're with someone who's not like that, maybe get a little bit more organized. My current partner now makes me pack from 2 days prior, which is a weird thing for me. So what do you love about your ADHD? What is your superpower? Have a think about it. Maybe drop us a line and even tell us. Maybe it's something none of us have thought of, but you've linked it to your ADHD symptoms. And finally, look up our group on ADHD. We're running some adult group programs, and I've put the link down there for you. You can find it on our website. Thank you so much for listening to this. And if you've got any questions, again, drop us a line, give us a call, and hopefully we can answer them.